guys? Winner Kills here, and welcome to an updated and brand new Atlantean Mermail Deepsea deck profile here for August 2020. Pretty excited to share you guys this list. I know a lot of people have been asking to see after the most recent test hand video, so I'm glad you guys are interested in my current take as always. One thing, I guess a couple of things out on the table first. This is a 41 card build because I couldn't quite get it down to 40, but I got it at 41. There's so much stuff I wanted to squeeze into this deck list to really get it to where I wanted it to be. So much so that there's been so many changes recently that I actually have already filmed this deck profile, but have re-recorded it as I'm doing right now. So this is actually the second run through of it, because after the first time I was like, you know what, there's still a lot of stuff that I feel like I kind of could have done a little better, changed it a little bit in the build, and decided it wasn't going to be enough just to do some annotations in the video itself in post, or letting you guys know in comments or the description, whatever maybe. So I figured I'd just start fresh and completely re-record the entire thing. So 41 card build. I think I have it to where it's sort of best of both worlds. It does have a lot of the popular takes and choices from a lot of the current, general consensus, I guess, of the Mermail community, but also a little bit of my own take on it, I suppose, as well. And I'm excited to share with you guys what those things are. So, obviously, before we go any further, if you guys are interested in this playmat here that I'm using, the Solemn Wars playmat, you can pick it up right now, I believe, on Imperium Duelist's website. Here's the reverse side here. It's got the Condemned Witch with a tour guide over here. I don't know how well you can see that. But tour guide on the other side, then you have the Forbidden Monsters or the artwork, Solemn Strike. Beautiful playmat, probably my absolute favorite from them thus far. If you guys want to get this mat or these sleeves that I'm using, or one of their deck boxes, you can do so on their site for 10% off, or a mat bag, whatever it may be. You can get it all for 10% off using that discount code WinterKills10off, of course, at ImperiumDuelist.com, link below. And if you guys are buying anything on TCG Player, do not forget to use my affiliate link then down in the description, because a small bit of the revenue from your purchase will go right back into the channel, which is greatly appreciated. And if you're interested in getting early deck profiles and other behind-the-scenes content, consider hitting that join button below and getting some more information on that. So, getting into the profile here, our standard profile, just a quick run through. We have 3 copies of Teus, 2 copies of Megalo, 1 copy of Pike, 1 copy of Gund, 3 copies of Atlantean Dragoons, 3 copies of Atlantean Heavy Infantry, 3 copies of Neptibus, the Atlantean Prince, 3 copies of Deepsea Diva, 3 copies of Deepsea Minstrel, 1 Moulin Glacia, 1 Lapis Dragon, 3 copies of Swap Frog, 1 copy of Ronin Tonin, and 1 copy of Fishborg Launcher, and that rounds out our monster lineup. Now we'll move into the spell lineup. So to start for our spells, we have 3 copies of Call by the Grave, 3 copies of Forbidden Chalice, 2 copies of Deepsea Aria, and then from there we have 2 copies of Moray of Greed, 1 for 1, and 1 Abyss Scale of the Mizuchi. That rounds out the spells, and with it, the rest of the 41 card main deck. Now we'll run into the extra deck really quickly, where we will start with the Link Monsters. And first and foremost, we have a copy of Mermail Abyssalacia, 1 copy of Miss Starboy, 1 copy of Aria, the Water Charmer Gentle, 1 Marincess Coral Anemone, 1 Crystron Hulk Fibrax, 1 Bujinki Ahashima, and 1 Link Karibo. And that rounds out our rather a little bit bigger Link lineup, more than usual, I guess. For the Xyz, 1 copy of the Almighty Mermail Abyss Gaios, 1 copy of the Bahamut Shark, 1 copy of Abyss Dweller, and 1 copy of Totally Awesome. And that rounds out our Xyz monsters, and that leaves us with just the synchros, where we have 1 copy of Satellite Warrior, 1 copy of Ravenous Crocodon, Crocodragon Arquetus, 1 Adamancipator Risen Dragite, and you might have been able to guess it, 1 Formula Synchron. And that is it for our synchros, and with it, that is it for the extra deck and the whole standard deck profile. If that's all you wanted to see, then thanks for watching. But now we're going to go ahead and take a deeper look into the deck and sort of actually explain all my card choices in depth. So first things first, we have our 3 copies of Mermail Abyss Teus. I've actually seen some decks move away from the Mermail engine entirely, which, I mean, I guess if you're going for that style of build, which is super turbo, and based on what I've seen, just kind of seems like kind of like an all or nothing type strategy where you kind of just spend all your resources right off the bat. And I feel like that, at least in my particular preference, like obviously feel free to play whatever version of Mermail you want to. This is just my personal opinion. I just feel like the Mermail engine adds a bit of sort of like substance to the deck, giving it a little bit more like options in terms of plays that can be made. And just giving you a lot of really good opportunities to start combos. Like Teus is a perfect example. Teus Dragoons, it's been a mainstay in the deck since its inception, really. And I know some people think that, like, you know, Minstrel Dragoons might replace that, but I feel like it's still good to have both. Teus is such a fantastic card, searching out even more incredible cards like Pike and Gund, and Pike in its own right can also search Minstrel. So a lot of amazing cards in the Mermail, the lineup, and I just don't see any reason to take them out. Teus is, yes, it takes 1 water, but I mean, you know, pretty much every monster in this deck is water, so like it's, you know, never really a big issue. And you could say the same thing for Minstrel. Minstrel without a water is a brick also, but like, I mean, you get a little bit of extra advantage out of Teus as well, as opposed to Minstrel. Obviously, you get the hand advantage, but, you know, you just get your Dragoon Search, so theoretically, you're actually sort of minusing a little bit when you Minstrel Dragoons. I'm not saying it's bad for that reason, but I'm just saying, technically, that's how it is. Then we have 2 copies of Megalo. I used to play 3 if I was playing a going second version of Mermail. I would definitely be playing 3. If I was playing something like Pot of Desires, I'd probably be playing 3. But I think 2 is all you need. This card, in the right situations, can be an absolute powerhouse, whether you're discarding double Dragoons or you're discarding double infantry or infantry Dragoons. You know, the removal combined with the added searching power and the fact that this card can easily search you out of Viscale the Mizuchi, being one of the better cards this format that this deck has such easy access to, stopping things like 3 Tactical Talons, stopping things like Forbidden Droplet and Dark Lure No More, and Super Polymerization. And the fact that this card can not only search that card out, trigger all of our Atlantean monsters, and also help us secure game on top of Synchro and Xyz plays. I just think that this card, again, is just too good for my personal taste to not play. So those are our level 7 Mermails. Then we have the 1 Mermail Abyss Pike. I hate not having a good searchable normal summon to have off of Teus. Teus, again, like I've said before, is one of the better starters in this deck's entire arsenal, next to cards like Diva and Prince and things like that, and Minstrel, if you want to look at it that way. But, you know, not having a good searchable normal summon in, you know, hands that are more worse off where you have Teus, but you might not have the optimal discard, you're still able to go get something like Pike, and then Pike can grab you Minstrel or grab you Gund, whatever your need, or if you're playing Marksman, you can grab that, of course. But I like being able to have a good searchable normal summon in that of Pike, and this can also attribute to some pretty solid anti-Nibiru plays that can lead to Dweller or Bahamut Shark, whatever it may be, whatever you need particularly in that particular you know, scenario. 1 Gund. Gund is just searchable Monster Reborn, can bring back level 4 Pike for rank 4 plays, or it can bring back your, you know, your Megalo or your Teuses for more Synchro or Xyz plays or Link plays. It's searchable, it's fantastic. You know, even just the whole line here, like if you go Teus, discard Dragoons, you can grab Pike, and you can also grab, you know, Prince. Discard Prince off of the Pike. Search out your Gund and revive your Dragoons. Search, you know, like a Megalo, and then Megalo can pitch away the Gund if you've linked off your Teus, and get just so, like, it's a whole good ecosystem of cards that can just retrieve each other and play off of each other. That's why I think it's a very small Mermail lineup, as you know, compared to times in the past, but I think it's very solid, and I think it works very well. I think the Mermail engine now may not be 100% necessary, but I feel like for me personally, in the playstyle that I'm used to, with how long I've been playing this deck, I think it's a good engine to keep in here 100%. So moving into our Atlanteans, 3 Atlantean Dragoons. There really isn't much to be said here. It's your bread and butter. It's the lifeline of the entire deck. The more Dragoons that you resolve, the better off you will be for the most part. Then we have 3 Heavy Infantry. Removal, and also allows you to extend greatly when paired with things like Deepsea Diva, giving you that extra normal summon. Great thing to be able to revive. Like in some hands too, it doesn't come up very often, but like if you have a way to like search out Diva like a little bit later in your combo and you haven't committed your normal, you can use something like Mariner's Coral Anemone, or not, yeah, Mariner's Coral Anemone to revive infantry. Or even, yeah, even if you've already per se like burned your normal summon on like a Prince, whatever it may be, you can still, you know, mid combo search Diva and get it on the field with its extra normal summon effect if you're able to bring it out with something like Mariner's Coral Anemone. Again, it's a niche thing, but this card does open up a little bit more opportunities outside of just the, you know, removal aspect that it has, which is great because very few strategies have good built-in core removal. Mermail is one of those that, or I guess Atlantean, Mermail is one of those that are lucky enough to have that access. The only thing I wish I could play was like more Marksman, just because like it makes this card a lot more versatile later on. Like sometimes top decking Prince can be very bittersweet, especially if you're not able to resolve Dragoons. But that's just sort of more of like a grind game problem this deck has always had. I wanted to play Pot of Avarice. You could still probably squeeze it in here as maybe a 42 card as a 42nd card. Or you could just drop the Frog Engine and play it. But like Prince is such a powerful card. But just on its own, it doesn't do so much if you're lacking Dragoons. Or even if it's just on its own. Send Dragoons, add Dragoons, Megalo, like you still don't have a play. Granted, I guess you could still send Dragoons, add Dragoons, Minstrel, and then you can do some very, you know, I guess more short-handed combos now, where you're ditching like Dragoons, Minstrel to add Lapis Dragon and go off into that. But then, you know, sort of relying on the Halka Fiber Axe engine makes it so you do have to play cards like O-Line, like Deskbot if you want to play it, or Jet Synchron, which is going to add inconsistencies to the deck overall, with not like, I guess, increasing the power level as much as you would think. Then we have 3 Deepsea Diva. Still weird to say that this card's at 3. Still need to get a third foil one. Maybe I'll just pick up one of the super rare ones, and maybe nobody able to tell the difference. But I've got 3 different language, side note, I guess, 3 different language princes, and I guess I'll have 3 different language divas to go with the theme. Yeah, Deepsea Diva. It's incredible that's a tuner, that we can take advantage of that for the time being while we have Halka Fiber Axe. And I will have it obviously for a lot longer because of recent world events, and you know, ban lists are probably not going to be happening like we're used to them. Probably just more unlimits, but you know, we can take advantage of the fact that it's a tuner for quite a while just to get easy Halka Fiber access while, you know, we have a good in-engine starter card at the same time. 3 Deepsea Minstrel. I know some people really just wanted to strangle me for not playing this card at all, which I totally understand. But I feel like it's completely normal to see a card, and this is the way I look at it. If a new card comes out, like when I first read this card, I'm like, yeah, it's okay. But it's obviously not still fixing core problems that Mermail has. It obviously does fix some. The hand knowledge is great because obviously you can remove cards like Nibiru and other hand traps that can severely hurt this deck. Giving you another chance at a discard outlet is great. While it doesn't give much back in return, so it does have some reliance on needing something like Dragoons to be able to discard off of it to get a real bang for your buck, to have a follow-up afterwards instead of just, you know, looking at your opponent's hand just for the sake of doing it. But obviously, you know, with it pairing with something like Deepsea Aria and giving your graveyard, fuel essentially to be able to go ahead and search something like Diva after you've had a chance to peek at their hand. I kind of just came around to this card. I didn't want to just sort of blindly accept this card for what people were saying it was. I wanted just to figure it out on my own, and kind of work it into how I play the deck and sort of change up play lines. Because when you're used to playing a deck a certain way, you really don't want to change it too much. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it type thing. But I've definitely warmed up to this card. I like it a lot more than I used to, and I can say that I'm glad with playing it. I guess arguably one of the best reasons for this, one of the best arguments that I have for this card that I've seen people make is that like it makes the Deepsea Aria alive. I can't lie, stopping Nibiru or any hand traps going into certain games is very, very clutch. I can't deny that. Moulin Glacia, this is a card that I've actually debated on just dropping entirely, because there's so many times where like the one minstrel is literally just enough, and I was playing just one beforehand, But I just decided to bump it up to 3 because I didn't have any other like extenders that I wanted to put in. I figured Aqua Spirit wasn't the way to go, or White Stingray. I said I might as well just go up to the 3 Minstrel and call it there. I wanted to do something a bit more with the fact that it's a level 3 tuner, maybe playing like a level 6 synchro like Coral Dragon, Bryonic, or Deloran. But I just haven't had enough time to test any of those theories, or maybe a level 4 like Herald, or a level 7, you know, like White Aura Monoceros, things like that. Because it is a level 3 tuner and I wanted to experiment with that, but I just haven't had the chance to do so. But this is a card I've considered cutting recently, and if I were to go to 40 cards, I would probably cut this. Just because, like, call me, like, say what you want. It's just like, Minstrel is almost a better Moulin Glacia because you get to choose the card that you're removing from their hand till the end of the turn. Granted, they will get it back, but you can sort of address the card they're getting back if you can. You know, not all the time, you know, but you can sometimes. But this card sometimes just feels like you have to force your plays to set it up, and things can be a little awkward. But that's just a minor inconvenience about it. I'm not saying the card's bad. That's just my personal opinion. Lapis Dragon, searchable tuner just for link fodder or for Halqifiber access. And then we have the new engine, which I'm sure a lot of people are wondering why I'm playing this. And it just simply comes down to, it's sort of, the thought process is sort of similar to that of Deepsea Minstrel. Because Minstrel is that, you know, discard into the graveyard early. Yes, it can trigger Dragoons while Swap Frog cannot, but it can still make your Deep Sea Aria live very early on. And the thing with the Swap Frog is you can get a lot more out of it in terms of like on-field advantage than you can Minstrel, because you're able to possibly set up easier access to Totally Awesome, or just use it for link fodder, whatever it may be. And that's what I find a lot of times the Swap Frog engine is really good for, is just for generic link fodder, on top of being able to, you know, very easily make something like Totally Awesome with how advantageous it is. So that's just why I'm playing. It's just good water stuff, essentially, at the end of the day. You don't have to play it. That's just my personal thing. For now, 1 Fishborg launcher. I was playing 2, but decided to drop it down to 1 just because if I open this, I can still summon it off Halqifiber X. That's the way I'm looking at it. And if I have to discard it earlier on, like I can still bring it up out of my grave to do synchro plays with, and I can still have other targets to summon from deck off of my Halqifiber X, whether it be Minstrel or Deepsea Diva. So I figured I'd just go down to 1. This is something that I've just recently added in. I'm not sure if I like it this way. If anything, you could easily throw in a second one, just because if you draw one, you can still discard it, and then have one to summon out from deck. But yeah, for now, I'm fine with just the 1. The spells, 3 Call by the Grave. I feel like this card is still really good with the Valors and the Ogres, cards that hurt this deck quite a bit. Obviously, doesn't stop Imperma Gamma, but having ways to protect your Diva and your Prince is still very, very important. 3 Forbidden Chalice, because I didn't want to play any, not play any cards that could be, you know, be useful going into boards. I realized it's not much. I was thinking about dropping Call by the Grave for Chalices and then adding in like just 3 Valor or 3 Ash Blossom. But like, I just feel like Call by the Grave is just a little bit better. That's just my personal take. That's really about it. 2 Deepsea Aria. I've been back and forth on 3, but every time I draw 2, I just want to put my head through a wall. It really sucks when you draw like multiples of them. I got not 3, but when you draw 2, it really sucks. But I feel like it's a good number. Obviously, not drawing multiples is nice. I might go up to 3 again with just like the added cards like Swap Frog and Minstrel, but I think 2 is a good number. I'm just torn on it right now whether to go between 2 or 3. I'll probably go back to 3 at some point. I'm not sure. Moray agreed. Solid draw card. I think it's probably the best option currently with this build. 1 for 1, just more options for Prince. I actually also thought about cutting 1 for 1 too recently to get down to 40, and the Abyss Scale of the Mizuchi to search off of your Megalo. So that's it for the main deck card by card. Hopefully that made sense. Now we'll run through the extra deck really quick. There's not so much to talk about in here, but we do have Linkuriboh. Since I cut Mander, I was able to take out True King of All Calamities in number 38. So they gave me some room to experiment with things. And Linkuriboh is one card that I'm always happy to have in the extra deck because there's so many times where linking off a Prince just sets up like and makes life easier for Moulin Glacia. So I really do like having this option. And I guess early on, like if for some reason you don't want to banish Dragoons or whatever, if you have like Prince, or maybe your Prince doesn't have any targets in deck or not enough targets, you can just link the Prince into Linkuriboh, make a Deepsea RA live, and go grab something else that you need. So Linkuriboh is great just for easy setups. Great card to go into the Bujinki Ahashima off of Infantry Diva plays for rank 4s or rank 7s. Halka Fibrax obviously for combos with Fishborg Launcher. Anemone to revive combo pieces from the grave, or tuners to go into Halka Fibrax. One Water Charmer. This is something that, this is like a free slot, I guess. Same thing alongside the Linkuriboh. You could really have this be whatever you want it to be. I've never played this card in here, and I kind of wanted to. It's almost in some cases like a better Mistar Boy. It really depends on what situation you're in. If you have like any good cards in graveyard that you'd even want to add back, which does come up in some simplified game states. Going to Mistar Boy is kind of just weird because you're adding back like just almost near useless stuff. So sometimes going into this is just better because you can just search out like a Diva, for next turn. Mistar Boy, you just got to play it. Same thing with Abyssal Glacia. It's just pretty much standard. We'll go to the Xyz now. Gaios is just always like relevant, I think, and just important to play. Bahamut Shark and Dweller, just standard. Same thing with the Totally Awesome. I know like with the Frog Engine and stuff like that, like it can kind of make Bahamut obsolete, but it's really just sort of like however your turn plays out, whether you hard make Toad or you're summoning it off of Bahamut Shark. And at the end of the day, you can use the other stuff for synchros or use it for just link fodder, I guess. Then we have our synchros, which consists of Satellite Warrior, which is to summon off of these two cards. And you're summoning this off of your Halka Fibrax, obviously, to draw. A good spell trap negation for things like Evenly. And then Crocosaur for a good interruption and removal during the opponent's turn, and also allow you to pick up combo pieces mid-turn. So yeah, that's about it. One other card I actually thought about playing in here was that Marincess Great Bubble Reef card, which I might actually change this out for that, because sometimes you're ending on like cards like Crocosaur, or you're ending on cards like Glacia, which are both cards that are like very dependent on having discards. And Bubble Reef at bare minimum can let you just draw during your opponent's standby phase, which if it draws you into any water will help, search Teus for next turn, or possibly give you like something like an infantry in hand to discard off of your Ravenous Crocosaur. So I actually might just cut this outright for Bubble Reef now that I think about it. Yeah, just consider this like a potential another option. It is a link 4, I realize, but it's not that hard to get into at just 2+ water monsters. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about the extra deck, and some other extra thoughts that I had. I do plan, and I've said this before in the test hand video, I do plan on making a build with this deck that runs the Megalanica Deep Sea Field spell. So I think there's some cool stuff you can be doing with that. Side deck, I'll put up a side deck up on the screen. It's probably just a lot of going second hate. The entire Frog Engine could be sided out 100%, so you could easily side that out. Call by the Graves as well if it's not really favorable in that particular matchup. If your opponent's playing a lot of things like Imperm or Gamma, you could easily take those out. And that's really about it. I guess you could maybe side out a Megalo, but sometimes you might regret that. But that's a good amount of cards to side out in a deck like this for a lot of going second hate again, like I said. Things like Dark Lord more evenly matched, Cosmic Cyclones, etc., etc. Gamma Seals as well, just because it's a good water monster. If you draw, you can use it to discard stuff for minstrel or whatever. You can remove boss monsters. Forbidden Chalice, though, is a card that I really like. Dweller is a card that will probably get made against you quite a bit, and this can stop Dweller. As they activate, you can chain right to it. Same thing with like True King of all Calamities as well. So I really do like this deck. I think it performs pretty well. In the overall grand scheme of things, I don't think Mermail is like a tier 1 contender, but it's definitely a really, really solid rogue strategy, 100,000%. And with the right amount of time and effort put into the deck and really just mastering the play with it, I think you could do pretty well with a deck like this. And also considering the price point, this deck in low rarity is very, very cheap, I imagine. I think it's a pretty awesome deck to get into, especially if you're newer to the game or, you know, haven't played in a little while, looking for something new to play that if you haven't played before. I really do recommend it. And yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say. Again, this is just my current take on it. I'm happy with where it is. We'll probably continue to play like this for a little while. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. As always, Winterkill signing out. We'll see you guys in the next one. And last but not least, a special thanks to my Divine Level channel members here on YouTube, Academic Thick, Travis Harris, and Zors. Thank you guys so much for your continued support.